What is up, everybody? You're listening to KMNR 89.7 FM in Rolla, Missouri. This is a DJ Catalyst. I forgot my name for a second. This is Growing Pains, Fridays, 10 a.m. I hope you're happy. It's Friday. So I got a mixed match show going for you. It's going to be interesting. We'll see how it plays out. But first, it's good to be back. I was gone last week. I did the Katy Trail with some buddies of mine. It was fun. Totally in over our heads at points. We thought we could do 100 miles the first day. That was a terrible mistake, but we got close. I think we did 70. It was a fun ride. If you ever get a chance, you should definitely go check out the Katy Trail. But it looks like while I was gone, and really in the past 2 weeks, the news has just been blowing up. There's lots of big things going on. There was the debate. There's SpaceX doing crazy cool things. Lots of crazy stuff. So I want to talk about, I don't know, just a little bit of everything this week, and we'll see what we can do. So I'm gonna try from here on out. I've been thinking about it. It's hard to do the show solo, so I think I'm gonna start doing more and more like video features and stuff like that. It kind of adds another voice to the room, because I'm lonely and I don't like talking to myself, and you guys probably don't like listening to me talk nonstop. So we'll see how it plays out. In other news, I've got the Facebook page for the show set up, so go ahead and check that out. I think it's Growing Pains on KMNR. Facebook, I don't even know what the name is. Facebook, search that. Check it out. I am gonna try to religiously post my shows, YouTube links after every show on the weekends. I've got one up. I tried to do the other one, but because I did that Vox feature with a bunch of Kanye West music, apparently he doesn't like people featuring his stuff, so it keeps getting copyright flagged. So I'm probably going to have to edit that all out, and then I'll add like an annotation with the Vox link or something like that. I'll figure it out. And this week we'll see how it plays out, because I'm going to do a couple features, but I've been really conscious, or more so now since that whole YouTube debacle, about trying to keep everything fair use, copyright friendly, so you guys can listen to my beautiful voice on and on repeat. It'll be beautiful. So I guess that's good for intros. I guess we're just gonna dive right in. Let's get right into the news. So first, I really wanted to talk about, because I'm a huge space nerd. Also, career fair happened this week. Hope everybody did good and stuff. One of the companies there was the company I'm going to talk about. SpaceX was on campus, and yeah, so I went and talked with them. They told me I wasn't good enough, just like my mom does, and brought back lots of childhood pain. So let's talk about that. So if you guys aren't familiar with SpaceX, I don't know what rock you're living under, but SpaceX rocket company doing crazy things. And on Tuesday, they announced their Mars colonization program. So the founder of SpaceX, his name's Elon Musk. He owns Tesla, SpaceX, started PayPal. He owns Solar City now too. The guy's a serial entrepreneur and philanthropist. Honestly, I would call him that. But he has this grand dream of going to Mars, of making humanity an interplanetary species, and I think that's really cool. He's really putting a lot of fire behind it. And I mean, the guy has said grandiose things and made them happen before. So it's one of those things that, like, yeah, sure, dude. Yeah, we'll do that in the next 50 years. Sure. But, I don't know, if there's anybody that can do it, it's him. So on Tuesday, he launched he exposed his rocket. And I read that I've seen so many different names for the thing. Originally, before he had talked about it, he called it the BFG, which stands for Big Falcon Rocket, which I thought, or BFR, not BFG, which I thought was hilarious. But now I'm hearing different names for it. Somebody said that he's going to name it the Heart of Gold in reference to Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, which would be cool. I don't think it's really like an improbability drive type thing, but whatever. And then other people are calling it the ITS. I think officially now, I'm reading on space.com, it's called the ITS, Interplanetary Transport System. If you haven't seen that video, because during this press conference, he opens with a video just like always, and then he does like Q&A. Check out that video. It's on YouTube. Just look up SpaceX, I don't know, SpaceX Mars. I don't know. Just Google that. Really, really cool video. It's like a animation that shows, or a render that shows how everything's gonna work. And essentially, if you're familiar with how SpaceX does things right now with the Falcon system, the initial stage brings the payload up into orbit, and the initial stage goes back and lands, which is an incredible feat on its own. They're going to use the same type of technology on this ITS. No, I want to call it the BFR. BFR is way cooler. So the BFR is going to use the same thing, but it's orders of magnitude larger. Once the thing is built, and I think they've already built one of the tanks that's like on record now that they have built one of the largest carbon fiber pressure vessels, which is really cool. And they've already fired the Raptor motors. I think they're Raptor motors, which are going to drive this thing. But when they build it, it's going to be bigger than the Saturn V, which is crazy. And I think it's supposed to lift like 3.6 times more, or 3.6 times more thrust than the Saturn V, which is incredible. If you look at the video, the thing is huge. It's just absolutely massive, which, who knows? Well, we'll see. I think they're saying it's supposed to carry 100 people, which is also insane, but you never know. I think the goal was to get the cost to go to Mars down to $500,000 per ticket, which is crazy. And I think the goal behind that was like, well, we'll get people just to sell all of their possessions and go to Mars, which is, yeah, we'll see how that works out. I once again, it's cool. So check out that video. I've got another little quick video that does a better job of explaining this, and then we can move on to another topic. Yeah, so we'll listen to this, and I'll come back and you can hear my voice some more. So here we go.
What I really want to try to achieve here is to make Mars seem possible, make it seem as though it's something that we can do in our lifetimes.
Elon Musk finally told the world his vision for colonizing Mars, and it turned out to be one hell of a show. His talk in Mexico drew insane crowds. People actually stampeded into the hall where his lecture was in order to get a good seat. They were then treated to a 1-hour breakdown of all the vehicles Musk wants to build in order to bring people to the red planet. So let's unwrap all of this and talk about what it means. It starts off like any science fiction. You need a spaceship. A vehicle to carry up to 100 passengers, maybe more, and 450 tons of cargo to Mars. First, the spaceship will be launched into Earth orbit thanks to a massive rocket booster, and I mean massive. When completed, this rocket would be bigger and more powerful than NASA's Saturn V rocket. The thing would be powered by a combination of 42 Raptor engines. That's the new powerful engine that SpaceX has been working on. They also did their first full-scale test of the engine the other day too. But unlike the kerosene engines that power the Falcon 9, this one runs on methane. More on why later. So, the booster takes the spaceship into orbit. The two vehicles separate, and the booster comes back to land on Earth. It's one of SpaceX's signature moves, similar to how the Falcon 9 lands post-launch. But once that booster lands, it quickly gears up for its next launch of a propellant tank. That tank then docks with the spaceship in orbit, filling it up with the gas it needs to get to Mars. Musk said it'd take maybe 3 to 5 propellant tanks to fully fuel the spaceship's trip. Then the spaceship is off to Mars. Once it arrives, the entire thing lands using its engines to lower itself down to the ground. It's a technique called supersonic retropropulsion. And again, it's just like the Falcon 9 landings. It's also a way of getting super heavy payloads safely down to Mars, which doesn't have a very thick atmosphere to help slow falling objects. After letting out its passengers, eventually the spaceship will lift off and come back to Earth. And where will it get the fuel for that return trip? On Mars. You see, that's why SpaceX is using methane, because it can be made using carbon dioxide from the planet's atmosphere or possible subsurface water. That saves SpaceX from bringing the fuel for the return trip over beforehand.
Elon and the team at SpaceX have showed really well that nothing speaks for itself quite like results. So I think the most important thing for Elon and for everyone who backs Elon and the team at SpaceX to do is to go out and to take some of these technologies that he showed off today, like the giant composite tanks and the Raptor engines, and just keep developing those and keep testing those.
So it sounds like he's thought it all through, right? But for all the things that Musk did say, he left out a few key parts of his human settlement idea, namely how these people are going to survive. A good analogy for living on Mars is kind of like living in Antarctica, but worse.
We have a science base in Antarctica all the time, hundreds of people there all the time. But you don't go there to raise a family, you don't build playgrounds. I love SpaceX, I love what they're doing, it's fantastic. They have changed the way people think of space exploration, but I don't think you want a colony on Mars. I'm open-minded, of course. But if you've ever been to Antarctica, there's nothing to eat. There is nothing to drink, and you can breathe. On Mars, you can't breathe. You can't breathe, everybody. That's serious.
Yet Musk said nothing about the types of habitats these people would live in and very little about how they would eat, drink, and breathe. And when asked about the dangers of a space voyage like deep space radiation or solar flares, he had this to say.
So I actually think the radiation thing is it's often brought up, but I think it's not too big of a deal. There's certainly some risk of radiation, but it's not deadly.
There is also little talk of in-space life support systems and perhaps the biggest issue of all, microgravity. Living in space can lead to severe bone density and muscle loss, and things at Mars may not be much better. The planet has 1/3 the gravity of Earth, which could also wreak havoc on the body. We don't know yet, but for SpaceX, these problems aren't the company's primary concern. In fact, Musk said that the first colonists would have to be willing to risk death.
I mean, the goal of SpaceX is really to build the transport system. It's like building the Union Pacific Railroad. And once that transport system is built, then there's a tremendous opportunity for anyone who wants to go to Mars and create something new or build the foundations of a new planet.
But even some of the engineering claims that Musk made were a little ambitious. He claimed that the spaceship could eventually make the trip to Mars in just 80 days if accelerated fast enough. That's an insane estimate given that most trips to Mars take upwards of 6 months. Getting to such a speed would take a lot of energy, and then a lot of energy to break. He also envisions not just one spaceship going to Mars at a time, but eventually 1,000. Let's do the math there. The launch window for Mars opens up every 26 months, so you'd have to launch 1,000 spaceships in that time frame. And then since each spaceship needs at least 3 fuel launches, that equates to 3,000 launches in 26 months. That's more than 15 times the world's launch rate, and an unbelievable amount of reused rockets. And then there's the timeline and cost estimates, both of which seem super optimistic. Musk hopes to complete the first development spaceship in 4 years, and then send the first big spaceship to Mars as early as 2024. That's ambitious given SpaceX hasn't ever launched people into space yet. He also says that factors like reusability and propellant production on Mars means the entire thing can be done for way less than current Mars estimates. The ultimate result? 1 million people living on Mars in 40 to 100 years. But that timeline is very tentative, especially since SpaceX isn't putting a lot of money into the Mars plan just yet. Less than 5% of the company's resources are going into the development of the interplanetary transport system. And even with these low cost estimates, Musk says that he's still probably going to need help, either from NASA, the government, or the private sector. So it's clear, this is just the starting off point. There are a lot of problems to solve ahead. But Musk says there's only one way to solve them.
The technology does not automatically improve. It only improves if a lot of really strong engineering talent is applied to the problem that it improves.
Oh yeah, just join the Planetary Society. Don't forget that.
All right, Bill Nye with your little plugs. Yeah, so that was a piece on SpaceX. It's on, I'll post the links with the YouTube videos. I do that every time. That was on TheVerge.com. Go check them out. It's a cool news type website. It's like a tech blog, honestly. A tech journal, maybe. Yeah, tech journal. Very cool stuff. Very, very cool stuff. So yeah, SpaceX. Check it out. Check out the video. Awesome. Next up in the news. So when was the debate? So we had our first presidential debate. I think it was this week. I didn't watch it. That says a lot about me, I guess. Watched the Bernie Sanders debates, but not the big money debate. But we'll see what happens with that. Oh wait, I wanted to talk about this. Oh man, I'm gonna ruin this flow. I want to go back real quick to SpaceX just because I thought this was a funny thing. Apparently, so SpaceX, one of their rockets exploded on the pad, launch pad, not too long ago, and they still don't really know what it is. But now, apparently, 10 House Republicans are citing concerns over whether or not SpaceX is a good company, a good source of supply missions to the ISS. Yeah, they've had what? Yet one rocket explode. I think they've only had one, and that, yeah. I think that sounds a little fishy. I think we should probably look into who's funding these guys, because I bet you you'll see some Boeing and Lockheed Martin money in there. Just thought that was funny. Anyway, back to the presidential debate. I've got a couple little clips and stuff. But yeah, so the debate happened. Trump v. Clinton. Apparently it was a riot. Pretty crazy, interesting time. Like I said, didn't watch it, but I've gotten my opinions from lots of things on the internet that told me how it really went down. Apparently, depending on who you talk to, Clinton won, Trump won. I've seen a lot of media saying that Clinton had the edge, and that Trump was like losing his mind. But then also you'll see Trump posting a lot lately, like, well, it was rigged and they were throwing softballs to Hillary and really ragging on me and my mic was broken and etc. etc. It's gonna be a fun election season. So there's lots of clips on that. I've got one that's kind of sums it up, and then I also, not to bash on Trump too heavily, because I want to try to keep the show middle of the road, maybe leaning a little left, but middle of the road. There is a cool piece done by NPR talking about how Donald Trump has kind of screwed a lot of people over with housing contracts and stuff, because I saw these political ads a few days ago on YouTube from Ohio, because Ohio elections coming up, swing state, big deal. They were talking about how in Atlantic City, Trump likes to brag about, oh, I've done great things for Atlantic City, great things, but apparently, like, he screwed a lot of people over. Like, a lot of people were like, yeah, he destroyed my business because he didn't pay us, and like, yeah. So I'm gonna do a quick clip on that after this one, and then we'll just keep on rolling through. So here's this first debate summed up in 2 minutes.
I have a feeling that by the end of this evening, I'm going to be blamed for everything that's ever happened.
Why not? Secretary Clinton, yes, is that okay? Good. I want you to be very happy. She doesn't have the look. She doesn't have the stamina. I said she doesn't have the stamina.
As soon as he travels to 112 countries and negotiates a peace deal, a ceasefire, he can talk to me about stamina.
Our jobs are fleeing the country. NAFTA is the worst trade deal maybe ever signed anywhere, but certainly ever signed in this country. And now you want to approve Trans-Pacific Partnership.
First, we have to build an economy that works for everyone, not just those at the top.
Under my plan, I'll be reducing taxes tremendously, from 35% to 15% for companies, small and big businesses. It's going to be a beautiful thing to watch.
The kind of plan that Donald has put forth would be trickle-down economics all over again. I call it trumped-up trickle-down. He has really started his political activity based on this racist lie that our first black president was not an American citizen.
I think I did a good job.
Donald supported the invasion of Iraq.
Wrong.
That is absolutely
wrong.
Proved over and over again.
Wrong.
He actually had, or maybe he doesn't want the American people, all of you watching tonight, to know that he's paid nothing in federal taxes. That means zero for troops, zero for vets, because there's something he's hiding. I think Donald just criticized me for preparing for this debate. And yes, I did. And you know what else I prepared for? I prepared to be president.
Nope. So yeah, there's that. Good old politics. But so yeah, it was fun. If you saw, just that's a pretty good summation. of what went down. Just crazy, back and forth, crazy. Hillary's crazy. She's like the hip mom, hashtag hip mom. Have you seen that video where she's like, I'm just chilling with my homies in Cedar Rapids? Yeah, that sums up Hillary Clinton pretty quickly. Tell me in 3 emojis or less how student debt makes you feel. That was a real tweet. Great. We either got that one or the walking suntan model. This is bad. We're screwed, guys. We're so screwed. And don't even give me the whole third-party candidates, because those guys are crazy too. Gary Johnson is crazy, and Jill Stein, I think, also crazy. They're all crazy. Maybe it's just we're coming to realize that all politicians are just kind of a little bit crazy. Yeah, probably. So that video, that quick little takeaway, it's on CNN.com, CNNpolitics.com. You can check it out. I mean, there's going to be tons of those all over. Pick a news source and you can go check it out. Try to do better than I did and stay on top of this presidential election. I feel like a lot of people my age, or at least people that were real fired up about Bernie Sanders, just kind of gave up when he didn't get in. And that is not the right answer. We got to keep going. Pay attention. I mean, yeah, presidential election's kind of screwed, but pay attention to senators, congressmen. Actually, I think, who's it, Jason Kander? I think Jason Kander, he's running for Senate. He just had a really cool YouTube video he put up, like a political ad. It was pretty cool. Check out that. It was actually the presidential candidates could take a note or two from this guy. It was a very good video. So check that out. Yeah. Good old American politics. We can do it, guys. Let's just write in like Mickey Mouse or something. I feel like a substantial amount of write-ins are going to be for fictional characters this year, or this election. It's going to be interesting. But like I said, I want to talk or show this little NPR piece, 5 minutes, real quick, about the case that Trump has been involved in with housing. Dead, saved, biased, if you want. I don't really care. It's on All Things Considered on NPR. I'll post a link to it. We'll play this, and then we'll get on to some more news. Yeah, okay. So, stay tuned, kiddies.
We're going to dig in now into a story brought up at this week's presidential debate involving Donald Trump and allegations of racial discrimination decades ago at Trump housing developments in New York City. Here's what Hillary Clinton said about Trump on Monday night.
Donald started his career back in 1973 being sued by the Justice Department for racial discrimination because he would not rent apartments in one of his developments to African Americans, and he made sure that the people who worked for him understood that was the policy.
And here's how Donald Trump responded.
Yes, when I was very young, I went into my father's company, had a real estate company in Brooklyn and Queens, and we, along with many, many other companies throughout the country, it was a federal lawsuit, were sued. We settled the suit with no admission of guilt.
Trump later emphasized again, no admission of guilt. Well, we wanted to know more about the Justice Department's case against Donald Trump and his father, Fred, and it gets started in the early 1970s in New York when Donald Trump was in his late 20s. Back then, Sheila Morse was what's called a tester for the New York City Human Rights Commission. When a black New Yorker was turned down for service and suspected racial bias, Morse, who is white, would be dispatched to see if she got different treatment. In 1972, a black man in search of an apartment in Brooklyn saw a sign on a building that said, "Apartment for rent."
He went in, he met with the superintendent, and the superintendent said, "I'm very sorry, but the apartment is rented. It's gone." So the gentleman said to him, "Well, why is the sign out? I still see a sign that says apartment for rent." And the superintendent said, "Oh, I guess I forgot to take it down." And that was that.
You, as a tester then, were sent in to inquire about an apartment in the very same building?
Exactly. Yes.
What did they tell you?
Oh, they greeted me with open arms and showed me every aspect of the apartment.
Sheila Morse says she reported back to the Human Rights Commission and then returned to the apartment building in Brooklyn. After she was offered a lease, The man who had tried to rent the apartment and a city human rights commissioner entered the office, and the three of them confronted the building superintendent.
He said, well, I'm only doing what my boss told me to do. I am not allowed to rent to black tenants. So the commissioner said, okay, can you take us to your boss? And he said, yeah, I guess I can. And then we went to the boss, and it was an office building in Coney Island. And when we got there was a great big sign that said Trump Management, and it was Donald Trump and Fred Trump, his father.
That's Sheila Morse, who now lives in Henderson, Nevada. We're going to turn now to Michael Kranish, co-author of the book Trump Revealed, the Washington Post biography of Donald Trump. Thanks for joining us once again.
Thanks for having me.
You write about this story in the book. What became of findings like those of Sheila Morse?
The information from Sheila Morse and other testers was brought to the U.S. Justice Department in Washington, and eventually they decided to file suit, and that suit was brought against Donald Trump, Fred Trump, and their company, Trump Management. So that was considered by the Justice Department at the time one of the most significant race bias cases, and it was something that they pursued very vigorously and that they eventually reached a consent order on.
Trump said that they settled the case with no admission of guilt. True or false?
Well, they did not have to admit guilt. They signed what was called a consent order. Trump fought the case for 2 years. So he says it was very easy, but actually he fought the case for 2 years. His attorney, Roy Cohn, filed a $100 million counterclaim against the federal government. That was tossed out. And 2 years later, they eventually settled on the grounds that were first offered to them essentially by the federal government. And that required the Trumps to place ads in newspapers saying that they welcomed black applicants. It said that the Trumps would familiarize themselves with the Fair Housing Act, which prohibited discrimination. So it also specifically said they don't admit wrongdoing. But they did have to take several measures that the Trumps had fought for 2 years not to take.
Trump has said that the Justice Department lawsuit was just one of many housing cases against many landlords. Is that true?
Well, there were cases brought against various companies, but the point here is that Trump has said in the debate, and he also told me when I interviewed him at Trump Tower earlier this year, that this was part of one massive suit. And in fact, this very specifically is a case that charges Donald Trump, Fred Trump, and their company of race bias in housing rentals. So it was very specifically against them, and it was one of the largest cases of the time. So to portray it as one case rolled into many and that many were sued together, that would not be the correct impression to give. It was a suit that was directly against them, and it is one that Donald Trump to this day clearly is upset about.
That's Michael Kranish of the Washington Post. He's co-author, along with Mark Fisher of the Post, of the book Trump Revealed. Michael Kranish, thanks.
Thank you.
All right. Let's play with this volume levels. Yeah, so that was that. Interesting little piece. It's on NPR. We actually have an NPR station here, KMST. Go check them out. I'll post that link in there and on the Facebook page, and we'll keep rolling forward. So I kind of wanted to use that piece as a segue because another big thing in the news, well, honestly, it's been in the news a lot for the past couple years, is there's a lot of racial tension, and not even just racial tension, problems with cop shootings, cops shooting unarmed black men, cops shooting unarmed white men. I mean, there's a lot of problem with that. So I wanted to use that kind of as a little segue and to talk about that. If you guys aren't familiar, there's been at least two high-profile shootings in the past week, 2 weeks, and then there's another one I wanted to talk about. Philip DeFranco talked about it on YouTube. Let's see if I can find it. So the one big shooting that kind of sparked off this whole thing, there was a shooting in Tulsa of an unarmed black man. Terrence Crutcher was shot and killed by police in Tulsa, Oklahoma on Friday. So I guess that was 2 weeks ago, September 22nd. Yeah. So if you're not familiar with the story, there's video from a helicopter. Apparently cops roll up on this guy. He's acting crazy. His car's broke down in the middle of the road. Or they say he's acting crazy. I actually haven't heard much more about this, but guys, they've said afterwards, like, well, he was acting like he was on PCP. They could smell PCP. I don't know if that's true or not. You never know, and I'll talk about this later because this is becoming a problem when you can't trust whether or not the cops are like closing ranks and covering for themselves or not. That is not how that should be happening. But we'll talk about that in a little bit. First, we'll talk about these three shootings, honestly. So Crutcher, let's say, Crutcher, who was black, died next to his SUV that had stopped in the middle of a 2-lane road in Tulsa, Oklahoma, seconds before he was shot. Police dash cam and helicopter footage shows he had walked to his car with his hands held over his head as Officer Betty Shelby walked behind him, her gun raised. Now, there's a video of this too from the helicopter, and it's graphic for one. So if you looked at, and I think it's on YouTube, you can look that up, but it's pretty graphic, but it shows blatantly the guy had his hands up, right? They tried to say in a press release that he was reaching in his car for a gun, but then after this whole thing, you can see there's blood on the driver's window. So the window was not open. So that was bad. Sorry, I just got a phone call. So that's pretty rough, but we'll keep going on this little piece. Shelby, who is white, was one of 4 police officers who were standing at the rear bumper of Crutcher's car as he stood next to his vehicle around 7:45 p.m. Friday. She's also the officer who shot him once in the upper body and who then radioed, "Shots fired." Police say another officer used his taser on Crutcher at nearly the same time he was shot. So, in the video, you can see this. The guy kind of seizes up, and you think, like, okay, they tased him. If he wasn't acting violent, they tased him. He drops, but then you see blood immediately, and then this officer, Betty Shelby, starts screaming, shots fired, shots fired. Now, this has happened in Tulsa before. There was an officer who shot an unarmed man who's intended to tase him, but in the heat of the moment forgot what a taser looks like and what a real gun looks like and shot the guy. That guy went to jail, and I'm pretty sure Officer Shelby is going to jail too. I think she's been charged with 2nd-degree murder or homicide or something like that. 1st-degree manslaughter. So she's probably going to go to jail. I mean, and that sucks. I don't think this was like a racist thing. I think she's just kind of a newbie cop. I think she said she's only been on the force for a few years. And an accident, and it probably got blown out of proportion because of the climate right now with national media and pertaining to police deaths or police shootings. But yeah, we'll see. It doesn't help things. So, but it looks like at least there will be some justice. I don't care what is going on. You can't be shooting unarmed people. That's not right. So that was last Friday. Now there was another shooting in North Carolina, Charlotte, North Carolina. I forgot the guy's name. Yeah, let's see if we can. Scott. Keith Lamont Scott. Shot and killed by police on Tuesday. Police say Scott had a gun. His family says he was unarmed. This was like really in quick succession to the one at Tulsa. And I had read on the news that people were rioting in Charlotte, North Carolina. And I was like, why are people rioting? Why are they rioting in North Carolina about something that happened in Tulsa? To my dismay, and I guess I found out, it was another shooting in Charlotte, North Carolina. Now, I don't know much about this one, but apparently it's also kind of gray. And once again, these things are probably getting extra heated because of the climate right now. But this proceeded, or I guess decayed, or I don't know, flame, I don't know, words. It turned into a serious riot in Charlotte, North Carolina. Like, there was serious rioting and looting, and it was bad. And I can't emphasize this enough. Rioting does not help anything. That, like, no better way to show that you want change in public policy than by burning things and destroying public property. That's never gonna work, guys, ever. I mean, Martin Luther King did it right. Please follow that example. I mean, peaceful protest. But in lighter news, that riot was squashed, I guess, and then it turned into a peaceful protest by a lot of people in Charlotte, North Carolina. which there was a curfew. I guess there was a curfew instated in a state of emergency from the 2 nights of violence. But this curfew was lifted after peaceful protesters had sat in for a while and been like, "Hey, no, we're the good guys," and more power to those people. Keep it up. Yeah. I guess some people were upset too because they were protesting during an NFL game, like blocking traffic and stuff. And I don't care. There's bigger things in NFL, guys. This is pretty serious. So that's on NPR. Go check it out. There's tons of stuff going on. But I wanted to talk about this, as I said earlier, about this problem that we're dealing with a lot right now with distrust of the police. And it's not just minority groups. It's a lot of people. There's a survey put out by the Pew Research Center that finds only a third of Black Americans and 3/4 of white Americans believe that the police are doing a good job, like the police are doing are using appropriate force. That is not good, and honestly, I was shocked by how many white Americans are like, yeah, because I feel like most people do not. I don't say they actively distrust the police, but I think people aren't actively excited to interact with police. Maybe, my opinion. I don't think people are perceiving cops as the public servants that they are. And then we've got this whole, blown up Blue Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter, Purple Lives Matter, everything in between. But I think that's an interesting conversation, and it's a conversation that it needs to be had soon, because these things are not going away, especially whether you like it or not. The media is blowing a lot of this stuff up, and for good cause. I mean, but we need to have this conversation. We need to have it soon. Like the militarization of police, that's a problem. The excessive use of force. This is propelling itself into the forefront of issues, and I'm surprised we're not seeing it more in the presidential debates, because it's an issue. If you are unarmed, even if you are aggressive, if you are unarmed, there's zero reason for a police officer to use deadly force against you. I can stand firm on that. There's just because, or even running from the police on drug charges or anything, there's no reason to kill that person. There are very few reasons to take someone's life over a crime, and it better involve self-defense on the police officer's part. And I think we're dropping the ball here with maybe not allowing, but not instructing police officers to really restrain from pulling out that gun. And it's a huge issue, and me talking about it and many other people talking about it won't fix it, because it's a complex problem. But hopefully we can make some headway on it moving forward. Yeah, so there's a cool article on NPR, a wide gulf persists between black and white perceptions of policing. Go check that out. There's probably multiple things on Google, or if you Google, police killings and et cetera, because like I said, it's a hot button issue right now, and rightfully so. People are dying unjustly, and that's not cool. So let's go to something a little lighter. It's only 10:40 in the morning. Maybe we should, let things be a little more fun. So if you're familiar with anything that's going on in the presidential election, you may have heard about the alt-right. Clinton likes to drop that a lot. And essentially, my understanding is the alt-right is just like trolls. It's like 4chan kids being trolly. And they have a famous, now infamous, I guess, meme, Sir Pepe Le Frog. And apparently this Pepe Le Frog has been declared a hate symbol by the Anti-Defamation League, which I don't even know what that is. But here's a little 20-second, 30-second clip that'll kind of outline the craziness that this this election season is promoting. Oh, maybe not.
internet meme has been deemed a hate symbol, according to the Anti-Defamation League. Earlier this year, the Daily Beast reported the Pepe the Frog character had been shared in anti-Semitic contexts. The once beloved drawing even grew as popular as being tweeted by celebrities such as Katy Perry. Pepe was created by a comic book creator and became known as the Sad Frog meme. More recently, the image has been portrayed as Hitler and a Ku Klux Klan member. A popular frog...
No, not again. Whoa. So, that's happening. This election season is just crazy, guys. It's a meme.
A section of
It's
China's
a meme.
Great Wall has been
We're
cemented.
gonna turn that off. Sorry about that. Oh, just hate when my news keeps playing. So, yeah, Pepe. Don't use Pepe anymore, or you're discriminatory. But they go on to say, like, yeah, it's bad. It's a hate meme. A hate meme. That's a meme in itself. It's a hate meme, and it's bad, blah, blah, blah. But then they also go on to say, like, well, it's used in context, because there's also good ones where it's just fine, because it's a meme, and it's been around for a long time. And they just like, well, it's bad, but, I mean, used in context. So it's like, well, why come out and say anything at all? What's the point, guys? Just obviously context. So, yeah, there's tons of articles talking about Mr. Pepe. So, yeah, check it out, I guess. Or don't. Keep the memes strong. Don't let your memes die. I'm a firm believer in keeping the memes going strong. I was gonna talk about some measles. If you didn't know, the World Health Organization has said that we eradicated measles from the Americas, which doesn't mean that it's gone. It just means like the cases are super low, like 10 or something like that per year. It's super low. But just wait. That's going to get screwed up by this anti-vaxxer movement. Apparently, there's been a couple kids have died because they haven't gotten their vaccines. It's going to be great. Great day for America. Yeah, I don't really want to talk, because I was going to segue into like homeopathic remedies and stuff, because it's all the same group. They're all a little fun, but we'll save that for another day. Let's kill the news for now, because I'm bored with it. I want to talk town and campus news. Keep it local, bring it back to the real Rolla Mo. It's good stuff. Then we'll do some Isla Earth, and I'll leave you guys with a quote, and we'll bounce out of here, because my show will be over. So, town and campus news. We'll go to the past first. So, if you don't know, SUB, Student Union Board, presents Dimitri Martin performing for the students of Missouri S&T Friday, October 14th at 8 p.m. This event will be open to both students and the general public. For more information on the event and tickets, go to sub.mst.edu. Dimitri Martin, that's pretty crazy that they even got him to come. I think tickets are like $10 hairs, something like that. Go check that out. That petition, if you remember a few weeks ago, I mentioned that there's a petition to reduce overcrowding in Missouri S&T. With increasingly large student enrollment, Missouri University of Science and Technology, MS&T, is becoming more and more crowded. This is leading to many problems, among these being the large wait times at on-campus dining options and a lack of parking. The students of Missouri S&T would like the university administration to look into rectifying these problems. So that's still going. There's a website, change.org, Missouri S&T administration, reduce overcrowding in Missouri S&T. Go sign the petition if you believe in that. AFS Open Foundry. All students and faculty are invited to attend the American Foundry Society's Open Foundry on Saturday, October 1st from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. in the McNutt Foundry, McNutt Hall, room 244. Foam blocks will be available on both October 1st from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m., as well as September 30th, today, from 12 to 1 for those who want to get an early start on carving an object of your choosing to be cast in aluminum for free. Wow, that's pretty cool. I want to do that. That's actually really cool. There will be free pizza and soda at noon. For more information, contact Jacob Belk at jabfhd@mst.edu. That sounds really cool. I wish I had the time, because that would be really fun. I should try to find time. You guys might see me there, because that sounds really cool. Next up, in the In the news, the Town and Campus News, Capital Steps is a comedy group that performs skits mocking the current political climate. No matter who or what is in the headlines, you can bet the Capital Steps will tackle both sides of the political spectrum and all things equally foolish. What more would you expect from the group that puts the mock in democracy? Free tickets for the first 50 S&T students. This is Leach Theater, October 24th at some time. Just check that out. Vintage St. Pat's sweatshirt sales in front of the library. The complete works of William Shakespeare abridged. Come one, come all, to the complete works of William blah, 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 blah. The show will be in Castleman Hall, 143, The Black Box, September 29th, September 30th, and October 1st at 7 p.m. with doors opening at 6:30 p.m. A matinee will also be showing at 2 p.m. on October 2nd, wow, with doors opening at 1:30 p.m. Thank you, and may the bard be with you. This is hosted by Alpha Psi Omega. Go check that out. We only got like 1 or 2 days left. So, 2 more. Engineers Without Borders, Day of the Dead 5K. Get ready for Engineers Without Borders' Day of the Dead 5K run on Saturday, October 29th, 2016. This 5K is sponsored by and held at Merrimack Vineyards in St. James. That'll be cool. The run begins at the winery and goes over gentle rolling roads ending in the vineyard. Profits from the 5K run will go to Engineers Without Borders, EWB, Missouri University of Science and Technology, S&T, student chapter. My inflection was off. EWB S&T works to bring clean water to 4 communities located in Guatemala, Honduras, and Bolivia. Early bird prices if you register before October 29th or day of prices on October 29th. What? For more information on the 5K, please visit Engineers Without Borders Day of the Dead 5K on Facebook or go to Engineers Without Borders MST, ewb.mst.edu, or call Merrimack Vineyards, 573-265-7847. Do that. That actually sounds pretty cool. And maybe they'll be serving wine after your run. So, cool. Sounds fun. That's October 29th. Finally, Sub presents cookie decorating. Cookies, sprinkles, frosting. These are all exclamation points. Cookies, sprinkles, frosting, other stuff. Satisfy your sweet tooth and unleash your inner chef with Sub on October 12th from 11 to 1, assuming that's A to P. In the Havener Atrium, we will be decorating cookies. What's a better way to beat the midday slump? With cookies, obviously. Get it with cookies. So you can check that out October 12th, 11 to 1, website, sub.mst.edu. Apparently Sub's got a lot of stuff going on, which is awesome. So go do that. We'll do some Isla Earth, and I'm going to end this with my daily quote, and I'll let you guys get on with your lives. So that was Town and Campus News. You can see that at kmnr.org//Town and Campus News. So check it out. Here's some Isla Earth, and we'll be back in just a second.
Welcome to Isla Earth. Experts say that as population and water use rise, the world's freshwater supplies are shrinking. Then why don't we desalinate more seawater and, drink the ocean? We can, for a price. One of the primary desalination methods of today is called reverse osmosis. The water is moved from one place to another, heated or cooled, pushed through membranes that separate water molecules from salt, and moved on again. However, this technology requires a hefty amount of energy. Enter a new way of doing things. A team of researchers at Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory have created a membrane made of carbon nanotubes and silicone. The special hollow molecules that make up the tubes are 50,000 times thinner than a human hair. Only 6 water molecules fit across the pore's diameter, yet it's still a lot more permeable than traditional membranes. The researchers described it like having a garden hose that delivers as much water as a fire hose. This, the researchers predict, could reduce energy costs up to 75% compared to conventional membranes. Next step, commercialization. But as always, freshwater conservation is the cheapest solution. Some fresh ideas about fresh water. Learn more at islaearth.org. Isla Earth is recorded on the campus of California State University, San Bernardino, and produced by the Catalina Island Conservancy, because Earth is an island.
So, I'm back. Earth is an island. Water desalination. Don't have to worry about that here because we're in the great Midwest with lots of water. That's great. We'll love it. So, I'm pretty much going to wrap up the show for today. Like I said, it's going to be a little chaotic, but I think I did okay. Feel free to hit me up on the Facebooks and tell me that I'm lying to myself and I really need to think about my life choices, which wouldn't be the first time I've heard that from my grandmother even. So I've got a quote for you guys, and we're going to end a little early. So the quote is attributed to my man, Philip Seymour Hoffman's, and here we go. Find what you love and let it kill you. Philip Seymour Hoffman. Thanks for listening, guys. You've been listening to Growing Pains on KMNR 89.7 FM, Rolla, Missouri, every Friday, 10 a.m., and I look forward to seeing you then. Take it easy.